This training is on how to do client story calls. Everything you need to know as the mentor coach or the coach who is setting them up is explained here. The purpose of client story calls is many faceted. In fact, I think it accomplishes so many things that you will not discover any other way. One of them is just an extra layer of support for the client. They feel cared for. They feel like there's more people thinking about them than just their current health coach. And also, the mentor coach has a chance to diagnose any problems with the client's program that the health coach might not be picking up on, or the client sometimes doesn't even tell their health coach, and they don't mean to. It's just one of these phenomenons that happen when you have a third party listening. Details and specifics will come out that the health coach never knew. It also helps train the health coach. If I'm on a call as the mentor coach with a health coach who's relatively new, sometimes the things that come up with the client, the coach didn't really understand or know the answer to. So I'm also health coach training the coach, as well as helping the client with that problem. But it also helps the mentor coach build that relationship with the client. That this relationship business is so powerful. So when we go down, it's not just building relationships with our clients and coaches, but it's a relationship business down deep. So we want to get to that next, at least 2 or 3 layers deep, a lot of times, of our coaches building relationships with their clients. Because when their clients become coaches, I'm going to be that coach's mentor coach, upline support coach, things like that. So I want to know that client as a client and therefore start that relationship process. And the other thing that comes a lot of times out of client support calls or client story calls is the health coaching seed. It's that third party validation. It's that watering of the seed that's already been planted. It's the third voice. And I always champion the health coach to the client. Not inauthentically. Nothing is done here inauthentically. If the health coach isn't a good health coach or a business coach, I'm not going to lie, or I'm not going to blow smoke about it. I won't maybe throw them under the bus, but I'm not going to say something that's not true. So it's very important that that these things are done authentically, but they are very, very powerful. So here's how the health coach sets up the call with their client. It can be done just on their weekly client celebration day, or you could just call the client out of the blue, not on their regular scheduled day, just up to you. And say something like, "Hey Susie, you know what? I was talking to my coach about you, and she would love to hear your story. Could we just put her on a call with us?" And then just get permission. You know what? People love to tell their story. Especially if they're excited about things, they want to tell people their story. They're excited, and again, they feel very supported and cared for. And do I love to hear my coach's client story? Yeah, because it just builds me. It builds me as a coach, it confirms the work we're doing. So it's a win-win for everybody. So on the call, the health coach would introduce the mentor coach, and then really just be quiet after that. If the mentor coach asks questions of the health coach, then jump in and answer them. And questions might be like things like, "Hey, so say Susie's the client, and let's say Mary's the coach. So I'm going to say things like, hey Susie, Mary has told me so much about you and your story. I just want to hear from you, what's happening." And I might say, "So hey Mary, how do you know Susie?" See, I'm going to ask maybe Mary some questions to bring her in a little bit, but here's what we don't want to have happen here. We don't want the health coach talking too much, because it will defeat the purpose of this whole interaction. The purpose of this, again, is for the mentor coach to build the relationship with the client, so the client knows they have another person to go to, so the client knows that, hey, there's somebody else on my team. And so if the health coach is talking all the time, that relationship gets hampered. So anyway, and then the role of the health coach is this. So towards the end, if it leads this way, now it doesn't always have to, and it doesn't always do this, but if it leads towards the end where the health coaching seed is mentioned, and the health coaching possibilities and the role of long-term success and how that plays a part, right? So all of those things are mentioned. It's important that the health coach, the mentor coach, you're going to learn in another slide how to do it, but at the end of this, the mentor coach is going to hang up and just congratulate the client, get off. as the mentor coach, I rarely go in for the invitation to be a health coach. I'll tell you what I do in a minute, but at the end of that, the mentor coach hangs up. Now, the role of the health coach here is very important because at the end of the call, and again, that mentor coach is going to bring in the health coach throughout, especially towards the end. But the mentor coach is going to hang up, and the health coach is ready to do I plus Q equals A. And we'll talk about what that is in a minute. But that's the role of the health coach, okay, in this scenario. I plus Q equals A, this is what the health coach does towards the end of the call, if the call leads to this client being a coach. And what you want to do with this, it's really, and you have this relationship with your client, hopefully, where you've been talking about on your weekly calls, you've been learning about their life. You haven't just been going through motions, health coaching them. Like, you're really building that relationship and you're finding out what's important in their life. One of the goals you could set is every client celebration call you have with them, you ask them, hey, what's one more thing about I want to learn something new about you. Tell me about your kids. Tell me about your past. Tell me about your interests. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your animals. Tell me about your travel. Tell me about your health. Tell me about your activities. Anything you can find out about that client is just going to build a closer, stronger relationship with you. So now when you're ready for these client story calls, you can do I plus Q equals A authentically. And that is, I'm going to say, basically the mentor coach is hung up, okay? You're left with them. And that coach maybe has expressed some interest in the coaching opportunity. And then you would say, as the health coach, you would say, Susie, I can see that what we've talked about with you in the past. You've got kids that are going to college, and your husband's job, you've kind of felt like it's been shaky, or maybe you're just kind of burned out with your job. I don't know. When Kim was talking about this, I just could kind of see that this might be an answer for these things that you're worried about. And Take Shape for Life. It's like, now I'm going to do a little aside here. As the mentor coach, a lot of times on this call, I will say, and towards the end, and again, I have to feel if it's the right thing to do, but I have felt like it's the right thing to do a lot. And that is, I will say to Mary, the health coach, I will say, Mary, does Susie know kind of the income you're making right now? And Mary usually will say no, because it's very difficult for a health coach. It doesn't come natural for a person to just say what they make. But if they're asked, then it's a different feeling that Mary would have. So I'd say, Mary, does Susie kind of know your income range, or, kind of what income that you're earning right now would Take Shape for Life? And they usually say no. And I say, Susie, would you kind of like to know Mary's income just from health coaching some people? And Susie always says, yeah, of course I want to know. And so Mary then says, and again, I would ask this permission of the health coach before we get on the call. But then Mary says, I'm making like $2,500 a month, or whatever it is. Now, if I'm doing this with a call with a person who is making a lot of money, like above like $8,000 or $10,000 a month, I don't have them say that. I just say, does this person know how much you earned, like within your first 6 months? So I bring it back down to a reasonable figure. But now this health coach is going to identify what Take Shape for Life could do for this person. And then Mary's going to say to Susie, this is again after I've hung up, that this I plus Q equals A happens. And she's going to say, Mary, but like Kim said, I would love to work with you because, you've been so coachable and trainable, and like, you're just so fun. Like, your personality's great. I've really enjoyed getting to know you. And I think that you're a hard worker. I think you're ambitious. I think that, from what I see, that, you work really hard. You're very committed to your family. You're committed to your church. These are qualities I like to work with. And I like to choose the people that I work with. I'm pretty picky with who I even offer this to, because, I find that if I'm not working with people I enjoy, then it becomes, no fun for me either. But, you've got these qualities. Now, again, you're going to be very authentic. Don't blow smoke, and don't go on and on and on, and don't do like exaggerated flattering. Oh my gosh, I'd punch you and hit you if that was happening to me. I would hate it, because you can smell it. So please, I'm just giving you some ideas on how to say it, but what you're going to say is going to be up to you. But please just don't overblow it. Don't be exaggerated in your speaking. Be very calm and very relaxed. And again, your thing is, you're going to be authentic about what Take Shape for Life could mean to them specifically, because you know those things, and what they could mean to your team of coaches and what it could bring to Take Shape for Life. And I don't know, Susie, but I just like Kim. If you have some interest, we could sit down and talk more about it, or I could send you some more information about it, and we could talk more about it after you see it. How would that be? Would you want me to send you some information a little bit more, and let's talk a little bit more about it? Ask the question. Yes, this is a question, and you're going to risk them saying, no, I'm not interested. So what? Ask the question. So open it up, approach. Now, you don't have to sit down with someone. Sometimes that's a phrase we use, but very few people really sit down in my world because we are all over the country. But you mean, let's have another talk where we can really lay out the benefits and the pros and cons, or send them a Prezi that has the explanation of how to be a health coach, or, let them watch a webinar of the company if that's what you want to do, or, give them the income disclosure statement. Those kinds of things. But that's what the health coach will do after the mentor coach hangs up. Now, this is the one that this role of the mentor coach is very important, and I've listed them here, but I'm going to just expound on each one of them. When I get on the call, I do say, thank you for taking your time. I just love to hear people's stories. It just fills me up. It makes me happy. It lets me know that what I'm doing and what I'm involved with is amazing. Now, you can word that however you want, but listen and praise authentically, and say, so Susie, would you, do you mind telling me your story? I'm really excited. So again, they're going to tell you stuff. Now, let me give you an example of what sometimes this sounds like. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I've lost 40 pounds. I feel great. It's been pretty, wow, I didn't think it would ever happen, and I've tried so many things, and da-da-da-da-da. Wow, Susie, that's really fun, isn't it? And Susie might say, now this happens more times than a lot of times, actually. Susie will say, but you know what? I don't know. Something's weird right now. Like the last couple of weeks, the scales haven't moved, or, I don't know. Something's wrong. Okay. Now this is what I'm talking about. Like the client will say some things to me or on this call that the health coach never knew. Maybe the health coach has gone a couple of weeks without really a physical conversation with this client too. So there might be some issues coming up. For example, and that you're going to help with in health coaching them. So I'm going to sit there and say, well, Susie, do you mind if I just, kind of do a little health coaching with you right now? And she'll say no. And so I'm going to ask the questions I would ask if it was my client. Your water? Are you eating on program? Are you exercising? Are you sleeping? Are you under stress? Like, I'm going to health coach. Now, a lot of times what happens is I find out stuff. I find out stuff. Have you ever listened to, like, your husband tell somebody something and you say, I never knew that. And he'll go, really? I thought I told you. This happens all the time. The health coach goes, Kim, I never knew that. They never told me that. It happens all the time. So that's a huge thing that happens in these calls, is health coaching. Now, if Mary, my health coach, maybe didn't know that, let me think of what's a good example. Maybe didn't know that taking thyroid medication first thing in the morning before they have a soy breakfast is going to mess them up. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask Susie, okay, what do are you on medications? Oh, you're on thyroid, huh? So when are you having your first meal? What are you having for your first meal? When do you take your thyroid? See, I'm asking these questions. A lot of times, Mary, the newer coach, doesn't understand that about thyroid. I have discovered this so many times in a client story call. You would be surprised. So I'm going to teach Mary things. I'm never going to throw Mary under the bus, though. Like, Mary, you should have known that. But Mary's going to learn some stuff by listening to me health coach this client. It's amazing. And I'm also going to posture. So let me keep going on this list. Then I say, can I tell you my story? And of course I collect a yes, because they always say yes. And I do tell my story. Now you're going to tell your story how you tell it, but I always, because on my story authentically, it does talk about I believe that being a health coach has really helped me keep my head in the game. And I do ask certain questions like, so Mary, just curious, like I talk about me becoming a coach before I'd lost all my weight. I talk about me becoming a coach and really worrying about people thinking I'm calling them fat if I talk to them, or worried about me being a salesperson, or worried about me bugging them. And all those things were in my mind about being a coach, and I didn't know what to say to people. So I bring that up as part of my story, which is absolutely true. And then another thing that I do is is I edify their coach always. I say, you know, Mary's such a great health coach, right? Like Mary's one of the best health coaches on my team, again, authentically. But did you know that we're also business coaches? So Mary's also a business coach, like a health coach trainer on my team, and we train as a team. So, you know, from what I can tell in your personality, Susie, it's like, wow, you know, you've got a passion about this. You're excited. Are people noticing you? I'm going to give you some questions later in the next slide to ask. But right now, the role of the mentor coach is to guide this with questions, listening. I'm also teaching that health coach how to ask and listen, aren't I? They're listening to me ask and listen. They're listening to the questions I ask, and they're learning that asking is so vitally important. So we talk about being a coach, a team as training coaches. I talk about their personality. I bring in something that they've brought up in their story. I somehow tie back to something relevant in what we do as health coaches if I can. And then, but I end the call with, again, I'm championing their coach. Hey, you know what? Susie's here to help. Mary's here to help you. But if you ever need me, I'm here as well. So if you're in the Facebook client group, if you're in that same one that they are, sometimes I'm doing client story calls for people that are in different client sites, so that doesn't always work. But if they're in mine, I say, you know what, watch for my name. I'm always here. You know what, let's be friends on Facebook. Hey, you guys, become friends with your coach's clients, if that are especially newer coaches. I don't do that now when a coach gets a certain level. But it is another layer of relationship building that I am offering to that client. It's powerful because if their coach goes away, I am connected to their client, and I'm connected to that person, more importantly. And so, but anyway, I say, you know what, I'm always here for you. If Mary goes on vacation, she'll turn, you know, I can help her with some of the calls, and or if she gets sick, so I'm here for you. So always offer that and congratulate them. Good job, Susie. You know what, 40 pounds, that's amazing. How much, you know, I've already found out if they're close to their goal or you know, if they still have a ways to go. I'm going to find that out early on. And you know what, keep going. You just keep going, girl. You're doing great. Encourage them and say, okay, bye, and hang up. Don't go in for the close if you can help it. Don't make the invitation right now. Just posture it. Give them a little bit of like authentic praise about how much you love working with them, and then hang up and let the health coach do the I plus Q equals A. So during this call, some of the questions the mentor coach asks are, when they tell you their stats of how much they've lost, you know, here are two powerful questions to ask. Number one is, you know, oh my goodness, Susie, have you noticed all the people in your world? Just curious, have you noticed everyone that you see now that needs this program? Shut up, let them answer. They're going to go, oh my gosh, yes, everywhere I go. I know. And doesn't it make you just kind of want to go run up and say, I've got the answer? Doesn't it just sometimes, don't you wish you could do that? Oh, I know. There's, right? So I'm getting them thinking about what they're naturally thinking when they're out and about. And are people noticing you? They are? Yeah, well, 40 pounds, holy smokes, that's awesome. So what are they saying? And I'm going to milk this a little bit. What are they saying what do they say to you? They say, oh my gosh, Susie, you look great. Are you losing weight? Or did you do something with your hair? Or, you know, and I'll go, okay, yeah, I know. Isn't that fun? Everyone notices. And so what are you saying? What are you telling them? Now, I'm going to instruct on referrals right here, obviously, because this is prime time here. The client's telling me what they're telling their friends. Oh, I'm telling them I'm doing MetaFast, and it's the most easiest thing I've ever done. I'm like, yeah, and the health coach, I tell you 99% of the times, is cringing in their seat because they probably have already had this talk with this client. They've probably already told them what to say. But see, I'm taking this client off guard in a way, and I'm asking them a real life situation. So they're going to tell me, without thinking what they were supposed to say, they're going to tell me what they naturally say. Now, a lot of times the client says, oh, I tell them that I'm doing Take Shape for Life and I have a great health coach. So I can tell when a coach has really, really trained their client well. But this is like my inspection time, and it also helps that health coach realize how much they really need to posture that, because that client really doesn't know. And I'll ask them right there, well, do you know, Susie, that you're really not doing MetaFast? Did you know that? And she'll say, no, what do you mean? See, and then I'm going to teach them what to say. And I'm going to posture, probably champion or and confirm what the health coach has already told her. So I explain that. And then, and again, I talk about, so Susie, you've lost 40 pounds. So, you know, just curious, Have you lost weight and gained it back before? Yes. Yeah, I know. That's really, really, really common. So do you have any concerns this time with this program? Now, sometimes people feel very invincible and they'll come back, oh no, this is going to be it. This is going to be it for life. Susie, have you felt that way with other things you've done too? Like while you were losing your weight, did you feel pretty confident that you were going to keep it off? Were you pretty sure then too? Now, again, you're going to ask these questions and you're going to listen to what they say. And if they say, yeah, I was worried before, but you know what? This time's different because I have a coach and I have the habits of health and I have the things that I didn't have before. So these are things that really help me know that I'm going to keep it off. So I'm listening again for what they think they're doing. That's really helpful. But then I'll say, if they say, yeah, gosh, I am so worried, like, yeah, I'm really worried about that. Then I'm going to authentically tell them honestly, I I need this more for my program than any of my clients need me to help them. I need this for me because I can tell you, Susie, that in 4 months I lost 50 pounds, but I didn't do it with really healthy habits. I did it with magic food. And for me, keeping my head in the game, I would have gone back to my old habits very, very easily. And so you're going to bring that up to them, but you're asking them the question, so they're listening now, and they're relating it and connecting the dots to their concern. So these are really powerful questions to ask them and to listen, and you kind of know how to guide that conversation based on what they say. And I do bring in the fact that this is Health Church. This is like not for the perfect, because a lot of times people don't want to be coaches because they haven't got all their weight off yet, or they don't know enough yet, they think. And they think if they lose their weight and get it off, they're going to have it all figured out. And so you want to just kind of posture what this really is. It's not about perfect. It's not for perfect people. It's for people who are going to be on the journey the rest of their life, and helping others is the best thing you can do to help yourself. So I hope those questions help you.